Right, so this video is going to be an example grammar lesson, and I don't want to tell you too much about this lesson until we get into it. So I'm not going to reveal about what is the language point or anything like that. But one of the focuses of showing you this lesson is rule discovery. So this lesson is created, and the steps of this lesson are designed in a way that the students can discover the rule through looking at examples. So that's quite a useful grammar teaching technique, because I think that explaining rules is not the best way of teaching grammar. And if you can focus on examples and then later have students discover the rules but do through some kind of form-focused activity, then that is a more memorable and more effective way of teaching. This lesson is also inductive and kind of implicit learning and all of that good stuff about grammar. But the main focus here is rule discovery. Okay, now let me reveal then a little bit about this. This lesson is not actually going to be an English lesson. This lesson I've chosen another language. So we're going to visit another country now to learn a new language. Can you guess where we are going? Let me give you some hints. Any guesses? Where do you think we are? Okay, you can probably guess now. This is some famous architecture. Yes, okay, so if you guessed Spain, well done. We're going to go to Spain today and we're going to learn some Spanish. Right, so the topic of this lesson is going to be body parts. So we're going to learn some body parts in this lesson. And the reason why I've chosen Spanish is to give you the perspective of a new language learner, okay? Now, if I did this as an English lesson and you already know the rules in English, then you can't really see how I've scaffolded and how the learners would be working out the rules. So that's why I've created this lesson in Spanish, to give you the experience of rule discovery for the first time. Okay, so we're going to learn about body parts. Now, everything I just said is not something I would really teach students during this lesson, okay? So we're going to learn about body. El cuerpo. This is body. El cuerpo. Okay, repeat after me. Los ojos. Los ojos. La boca. El cuello. Okay, notice the accent is a little bit different from English. La cabeza. Okay, la cabeza. El hombro. El hombro. El pecho. El brazo. El brazo. La rodilla. Okay, la rodilla. That's kind of like tortilla. La pierna. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do next is a checking stage. So you've learned some new words. On the next slide, there's going to be a quiz to check, okay? When you're teaching, it's really important to have checking stages built into your lesson. So you teach something, and then you have a checking activity. You teach and check, teach, check, okay? So what I want you to do is memorize these words as much as possible, okay? If you want to pause the video and have a look for a few minutes, you can pause the video. Okay, so in the class, I give a few minutes, have a look at these words, try to memorize, and we're going to do a quiz. Okay, okay, so hope you're ready. Okay, the first one, what is it? La rodilla. Well done if you guessed right. Okay, the next one. Los ojos. Oh, sorry, I gave that away. Okay, this one is el brazo. Okay, and down at the bottom, Well done if you guessed correctly, la cabeza. I'm doing this a little bit quickly. You know, in the classroom I would do this a little bit slower. Okay, what is this? La boca. And well done, el hombro. Okay, so well done if you got that right. I hope you tried to memorize in the class. Students get most of these correct because I give a few minutes to memorize the new words. Okay, now what we've done so far is not really grammar teaching, but this is the scaffolding and this is the examples. Okay, so it's important to focus on examples of the language when you're teaching grammar, to give examples that students can kind of start to see the grammar and start to understand the grammar of the words. Okay, so what we're going to do next, this is the grammar focus activity. Okay, now here are all of the words, and what I want you to do is working together in the classroom, working together with your partner, and put these words into the right blue box. So we've got the blue box for L and the blue box for la. Okay, so I give a few minutes and students work together and they try to remember which category these words go into. Okay, you can pause the video if you like and have a think about this, have a look at those words. Okay, let's go through the answers. So, hombro, is it L or la? Okay, the answer is L. Brazo. L. Boca. La. Quello is L. Cabeza is la. Pecho is L. Rodilla is la, and pierna is la. Okay, now through doing this is kind of like activating the memory, and it's also helping students to notice and to find why some words go to L and some words go to la. Now you may have noticed a rule here, and often in the classroom students do, through this process, they do start to notice a rule. So this is helping them to notice an aspect of grammar. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, usually I have a student explain this in the class, any student that has noticed the rule. Generally, the words that begin, the words that end with an O go with L, and the words that end with an A go to la. Okay, so we've got one more word here that wasn't previously learned in this lesson, which is mano at the end of the red box. So where do you think this might go? Okay, so usually students guess this is probably L by following the rule of the O at the end of the word matching with L, but actually that is an irregular word in Spanish. And mano means hand, and mano actually goes with la. Okay, so that is an irregular, and we do need to be careful that some words are irregular. Okay, now usually at this point students are quite curious and they want to know more about this. So so most words in Spanish, and Spanish is a Latin language. Other Latin languages include Italian, French, and Portuguese. These languages categorize all nouns, and also some of the words as well, adjectives as well, as either masculine or feminine. Okay, so what do you think is masculine, L or la? Which one is feminine? Okay, so L is masculine and la is feminine. So for some reason in Latin languages, all nouns are assigned masculine or feminine, and that actually influences how we use these words in a sentence. If you don't know, L and la roughly translate in English to the. Okay, now the way that the is used in Spanish is not exactly the same as the way that the is used in English, but it's kind of roughly a translation of the. Okay, So the word the changes depending on whether the noun is a masculine noun or a feminine noun. Okay, and other languages, other Latin languages are the same as this. Now, but something to be aware of, like I mentioned, there are irregular. So something like 90% of words, or maybe a little bit more, follow this regular pattern of O is masculine and A is feminine. But there is a fair, quite a sizable portion, maybe 5 or 10% of words that are irregular and they don't follow this standardized categorization. Okay, so just be aware of that, and if you're going to learn one of these languages, you do need to learn the irregularities. Okay, so let's get back to this point of this as a grammar lesson. So what have we done? We've looked at examples. I set up the context at the beginning. We looked at some examples. I did a checking stage quiz just to help you to memorize. And then we went into this categorizing activity to focus on the form. But at no point had I explained the form. And that's kind of the key point here, is that this grammar lesson doesn't include explaining. This grammar lesson includes rule discovery. Okay, so if you can do rule discovery, it's a more powerful teaching method or technique than explaining. Okay, and this categorization as well can be done with many different types of grammar, such as categorizing past tense and present tense sentences as well. Okay, now what did I say about teaching and checking? We should always have a checking stage, right? So here is a checking stage. As I mentioned, nouns are masculine and feminine, but also adjectives can be changed to masculine and feminine in Spanish. So you may not know this, or you may know it, but the word fashionista is only for women, right? So if we're going to describe a man, we shouldn't say fashionista, we should say fashionisto. Okay, so the adjective actually changes depending on who we are describing. If we're describing a man, we would use the masculine ending of O, or if we're describing a woman, we would use the feminine ending of A. Okay, so this woman, she is a fashionista, and he is a fashionisto. Okay, let's do a couple more checkings. So this is el profesor or la profesora. This is el profesor because it's a man, and this is la profesora. Okay, and this is el gallo, and this is la gallina. Okay, well done. So you can see that different language, different adjectives and nouns also change. So this one is the names of the animals, the male and the female animal. But yeah, like I said, the adjectives change as well. And I just want to give you one more hint about remembering this before we kind of finish off. You may know the word, the name, famous name, Mario. Mario. Okay, so Mario is the name for a man. What is the name for a woman that's similar? The answer is Maria. Okay, so Maria and Mario. Okay, so that's an easy way of remembering the masculine and feminine. And there are many other examples of this. You might have heard of ballerina and ballerino. Okay, so the male is a ballerino. Okay, so yeah, that is our rule discovery grammar lesson, and I just want to finish off with an explanation because this might be the first time you've learned some Spanish. So yeah, as I mentioned, el and la are the, and a is un and una. Okay, un and una, and these are singular definite article and singular indefinite article, which are the and a. But also in Spanish, they have plural definite and indefinite. So if we're using plural nouns, we have to change the article also to be plural as well. So there we have los and unos and las and unas. Okay, so that's why los ojos. I threw that in at the beginning just to give you some exposure to this. And you may have heard of Las Vegas as well. So Las Vegas actually comes from this grammar. Las is definite article, plural definite article, and Vegas means plains. So Las Vegas means the plains. Okay. So if this was a real lesson, now you could start expanding, you know, you could introduce the plural, or you could introduce a, and you could, you know, extend this lesson. But I just wanted to show you this idea of rule discovery and teaching grammar without explicitly explaining. Okay, I hope that was useful. Thank you very much.